Springtime means time to trap.
It's a trap.
It is about to be March, and what does that mean for most of the country? That means freaking pre-spawn. Some of the country's already been in the pre-spawn, which means they've already been throwing this, but for us, the majority of the country, this bite is about to get hot. I'm gonna show you two different approaches to throwing a lipless freaking crankbait. I'm gonna show you rods, reels, two different full setups, and a couple different baits that you should try, as well as hooks to replace from stock to try and help you catch and land more bass, because it's a really fun bite, and two, catches a lot and big fish. All right, so first and foremost, I wanna walk through two different rod and reel setups that I use for throwing a lipless crankbait. So there's two different approaches, which is why I have two different setups. There's sometimes where you're maybe making more shorter, more accurate casts, maybe around grass, you need to beef up the line a little bit. I'll have a setup for that. But then there's sometimes, especially up here in the north, before we even get a lot of grass, where the lipless is a great bait to simply cover water, and you wanna make long bomb casts, which means typically you want a longer rod to be able to penetrate those hooks on those fish, where sometimes a shorter rod might enable you to set the hook a little bit faster. Now, I'm definitely gonna get more dialed throughout the year as we throw these, but these are ones that I found success with and I have for using in different niche situations. There are also gonna be two options that are more cheaper, and one's gonna be a little bit more on the expensive side. So a budget option, and then one option you can go up to as well. We are going to show you a couple different options for some lipless crankbaits. One that is very popular, and then a couple options that are a little bit more on the sneakier side, which you haven't tried yet. These work and work very well. And so first, what we'll walk through is I have the first rod and reel setup that is going to be a little bit more on the shorter side, a little bit of a heavier action. One that is going to be designed to, especially when you're on some heavier grass, you need to be able to pull on these fish a little bit more. One that I am a big fan of. So the lipless crankbait, what we'll detail in here, this is actually a Jackal TN60. I like throwing anywhere from the TN50s, the TN60, 70, and so on and so forth. Jackal makes a great one. Typically great for yo-yoing, but also a lot of these you can straight reel too if you want. Some of them excel in yo-yoing versus a straight reel, which we'll detail here. I got a couple different options, like I said, but this setup right here is a little bit more if I want to wrench on these fish a little bit harder than if I was just bomb casting and there's no vegetation, things like that. This is a 7-foot medium heavy, moderate fast. It's more of that composite. This is an Abu Garcia winch rod. I have 15-pound fluorocarbon on this one. Like I said, something a little bit more beefier, where commonly a lot of people throw 12-pound fluorocarbon. This rod, obviously you can see in the moderate fast, the tip is not as fast, more starts to bend down a couple eyes. But has the backbone to really drive these hooks home and also give you that power, like I said, where if you're around some heavier grass, you're throwing around clumps, things like that, or wood, whatever it may be, to give you a little bit more power, more advantage back to your side when you're dealing with treble hooks to try to get those fish in. So for the reel, this is actually a new reel that I got from Arc. This is the new Arc Gravity G2. I'm actually really excited about this. It's a $100 reel, so kind of entering that same market as like a Shimano SLX, a Revo X, and really I've been impressed with the Arc Gravity series of reels. So this is brand new. Got the small, thinner style handle similar to that like a Lew's Custom Pro or an MGL style handles. And you can see here too, very asymmetric design, so that when you put your hand on that reel, it's just being able to perfectly cup that, and which is something I really enjoy for the pure fact that that is control. Control to me, especially with a bait like this, is everything. When you're winding that, either you're slow rolling or you're winding faster, you're hitting stuff like grass, you need to rip it up out of grass, you need to pop it. You need to have a good control of your reel, of that rod, to be able to manipulate your bait correctly. So I'm really excited, like I said, for that new Arc Gravity G2. I'll be doing some more reviews on that the more we get to use it, because it is brand spanking new. I will leave a link down below where you guys can go grab that. But I got 15-pound straight fluorocarbon in here. Again, something to more wrench on those fish. But really like that, just being that shorter rod, a little bit more control for the people that don't like to use the longer rods for lipless crankbaits. But with that being said, I will show you guys an option that I really like that's more on the longer end of spectrum of rods for throwing a trap. So the longer setup that I have here, again, this is more for making super long casts, winding, not having as much control per se, but one that I'm gonna be able to make much further casts and have the ability to lean into those fish from further distances and be able to get them to the boat. And you'll see I do some different stuff with the hooks to emulate that too. But this is a 7'6" medium heavy Abu Garcia Fantasista X. While it is a medium heavy, it's kind of a blend between a medium and a medium heavy. It definitely bends a little bit further down into the rod, almost kind of like a cranking rod, but has some backbone for you. What we have is a Xenon X Abu Garcia casting reel right here, really good at throwing those lighter baits. 12-pound fluorocarbon straight Seaguar and VizX. What I have on here is a Strike King Red Eye Shad, perfect for really just winding, especially getting through grass. And you can see those hooks on there. This has become a very fast favorite for me for throwing a trap. It was the Owner ST36. It's a Zoe wire, and I'll leave the link to exactly where to get those treble hooks. But super, super, super sticky, strong, one that's become my favorite for putting on a trap. And so like I said earlier, this is gonna be more on your more expensive side, with the Xenon X being around, I think, $300. Same with the Fantasista. I think the Fantasista is like a $250 to $300 rod. But again, that longer rod, that 7'6", is gonna allow me to, one, cast that bait much further and be able to have the length of the rod to benefit when I get bit at a longer distance, to load up further and hopefully be able to land more fish because of that. So those are my two different setups. This does not say that you can't use these vice versa, where this around grass. It's just certain situations that I like to use each. And you guys will see that reflected in the videos coming up, especially this spring, where here in the north, a trap is for sure gonna be put to use, and also for when we go down south next week. And so what I'll do, I showed you guys the Jackal TN series. I showed you guys the Strike King Red Eye Shad, which the Strike King Red Eye Shad is one of the best winding traps you could find. Really, just a great universal trap. That and like a Bill Lewis, the OG for throwing a trap. But in this waterproof evolution box, I got a bunch of different traps I can show you guys. But real fast, if you guys want to get any of these boxes, they're super cheap for a waterproof box, for ones that, especially that are of quality like this. I'll leave the link down below if you guys want to go and get some evolution boxes. I'm going to show you a couple different options that you guys can go and use for traps to change it up, maybe throw something different than the rest of the field that's out on the water, that's throwing a lipless, some different things that can get you some more bites. So like I said, there's two different styles of traps. I mean, you can use them for basically everything, but there's some traps that excel better in that yo-yo, that ripping style of retrieve versus ones that are better for just straight reeling, burning something a little bit faster that's not exactly of that yo-yo technique. And two of those that are better on that yo-yo style retrieve, we got two here, and that is, we got the LV 500, the Lucky Craft, which is a staple, especially from my West folk. That's a Clear Lake special right there. And then you got the Spro Aruku Shad. This baby's all tuned up and turned up from being eaten down in Florida. Aruku Shad, and keep in mind too, you can get different sizes of these baits as well, where they make a smaller, you know, a junior Aruku Shad. They make different sizes and weights of the LV 500. Both great baits for if you're going to be using that yo-yo technique. And another honorable mention that I'll put in here too for the bait that really work for that yo-yo technique, but also great little sneaky bait for straight reeling. That is a Nasheen Lure Works Simcoe lipless crankbait. That thing is legit. There's some great colors made in this. They come awesome with stock Ichikawa hooks. Sneaky, sneaky little bait because it has multiple options to rig on top, but also you can see just how flat that sucker is. But really cool having that multiple options of rigging right there as well. And then lastly, these two are for your kind of straight retrieve. You can obviously yo-yo these as well, but these are going to excel more on the straight retrieve. One is the Nomad design. This is the Swim Trex. That is a new bait to the scene. I think Greg DePalma has won a couple kayak events actually on it, but he's talked about it a decent amount. That is a cool, unique bait because you can see, one, how thin that top is. Bigger profile belly towards the top, which is going to allow that thing to be weighted perfectly. But also the top here, if you can see where you tie your line tie to, this will swivel back and forth, which adds to the amount of vibration and action on that bait, which is super freaking cool. Woo! Playing with treble hooks is dangerous. If I can get that to focus, you guys can see what I'm talking about there. Pretty cool deal. And lastly, it is just a staple, and that is the Booyah One Knocker. pretty popular color there as well. That purple hue, darker back, kind of like a galaxy looking back to it. An absolute great bait. You can see with the different knock on it. Really one that excels with that straight reel. Very similar to that of a body shape of a Strike King Red Eye Shad, but a great option that you can refer to. So again, everything that I touched on and covered in here is linked down below. You guys can use code SERIES10 to take advantage of it, save on it. Hopefully this helps you guys dial in some rod setups, reel setups, all that jazz, and different baits to throw when throwing a lipless. And as always, guys, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch this video. So if you can, please like, subscribe if you're not already. Drop a comment down below your favorite lipless crank, your setup for throwing a lipless, because it's time to go throw it and catch many fish, and big ones at that. As always, you guys are awesome. Appreciate y'all, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.